Hi, my name is Giovanni Torres, and this is a transition IEP for Eduardo. A little about Eduardo. Eduardo's a 17-year-old junior who's about to go into his senior year. Eduardo's in the gifted program at Colonial High School, where his favorite subject and his best subject, he feels, is math. Eduardo suffers from a learning disability called dysgraphia. It's essentially a learning disability that deals with handwriting. Eduardo's thinking about applying to 3 major schools in Florida, UCF, UF, and FSU, but his ideal school is Boston University, where he wants to study to be an engineer. Right. These are Eduardo's chart. This is Eduardo's chart and how he's doing in pre-calculus. There's 4 categories where I do my grading: notebook, tests and quizzes, participation, and homework. Eduardo's grade is the bar in red, whereas the class average is blue. As you can see, Eduardo is a little behind the class average in the categories of notebook, participation, and homework. Participation and homework has been improving. They were previously at about the 60 range. He has gotten them up to a little above 70 both, so I'm very proud of Eduardo for doing that. However, those areas as well as homework need improvement. I'm going to go over how I grade each subject and how Eduardo is doing specifically in each subject. The first subject I want to go over is test and quizzes, because this is Eduardo's strength. Overall, Eduardo has a 67% D. His grade is that high because of his test and quizzes. These are bringing his scores up. Students take approximately 4 tests and 16 quizzes in the year. I'd like to give about a quiz a week so students aren't overwhelmed. However, sometimes the school semester turns out where one week they'll have 2, the next week they'll have 0. So it does balance out. Eduardo understands what is being asked, and he demonstrates it on the test. However, he does get frustrated on some quizzes. He'll start taking a quiz, and he'll feel that his handwriting isn't good enough, and he'll get frustrated with the material and just completely stop. Even though that happens, his test and quiz scores are very high. However, if he does work on that a little bit, he will bring up his test and quiz scores, which is already really high. The next subjects I put them together. They're notebook and participation. Let me go into notebook first. The notebook grade, students are required to keep a notebook where they take notes on my lectures. I do approximately 5 lectures a week. Each lecture is worth 1 point. However, if they have half a lecture, I'll give them half a point. Eduardo doesn't like to take notes because he's discouraged with his handwriting, and he's told me this several times. He'll start writing his notes, and about halfway he'll get to something he sees that he writes down and doesn't understand. 2 seconds later, or gets frustrated, and he'll just completely stop, put his head down, and then that's it for Eduardo. I'll get back to that in a second. I'd like to tie it into participation. Participation can range from any problems on the board to group activity. It can also be individual work. Points are distributed weekly on this as well. Students receive a point a day for participation. It's either they get a point if they participate, or they don't get the point if they don't participate. This is one of the easiest point systems to get. Eduardo sporadically participates, and that ties in with his notes, because he feels that when his notes are wrong or his notes are poorly written, he gets discouraged and doesn't want to do anything for the rest of the day. So that ends up hurting his notebook grade and his participation grade, which is something I want to improve. And also, if Eduardo is genuinely not interested in the material, he kind of shuts off and refuses to do it. The next category is homework. Students are expected to do approximately 5 math problems a night. It can change depending on how well the class is understanding the material. I might bring it down to 4, 3, 2 if the class understands the material. If the class is having a hard time with it, I might up the problems. However, I'll let them know before they leave at the end of the night exactly how many problems they'll be doing and what problems they'll be doing. Points are distributed daily. If the 5 problems are completed with work shown, they get the full point. The answers don't have to be right, they just have to show the process. I do give half credit if they do 2 or 3 problems. However, this point system is set up to where if you forget your homework every once in a while, it's not going to kill you. The issue with that is Eduardo rarely turns in his homework. He tells me he does it on occasion, but feels that it's too messy to turn in. On those, I give him points. I don't tell him I give him points because I feel he might take advantage, but I do give him some points. However, we want him to turn in whatever he has. That way, that's more points than what he has currently. If Eduardo brings up his homework score, his grade can be a lot higher. With 15 more points on his homework, his grade can go up to a 71% C. So that's 4 percentage points by just doing his homework for a couple of days. And that's what I hope to do with these 3 research-based theories that I have looked up that will help Eduardo do better in my class. Not just my class, his other classes as well. The first is technology. When people hear iPad, they think of reading books on Nooks or writing essays. iPads can also be used for math. Eduardo's capable of doing the work. He's shown me on the test, and he's shown me on the work he does turn in. He just has a problem turning in work because he feels discouraged about his handwriting. With the iPad, that'll completely go away because it won't be his handwriting. It'll be a computer doing the work for him as he types it in. With technology, Eduardo can raise his homework grade by doing his homework on an iPad. He can also bring it to class and use it in class to take notes and classwork. It'll raise everything from participation on up to quizzes because, like I said before, he sometimes doesn't complete his quizzes. He may feel more comfortable working with peers. I have seen in the past that Eduardo doesn't like showing his work to his peers, and I don't force him to. But with the iPad, he might be more encouraged to show his work. If he shows his work more, he might feel comfortable. Eduardo may even participate more in class with this item. The next research-based theory I thought up for Eduardo was give more independent practice options. Eduardo likes to work alone. He's told me this several times. When doing so, he does the majority of his classwork. He sometimes doesn't feel comfortable working with others. Like I said before, he might not be 100% comfortable with the material and doesn't want to give his group a wrong answer, or he may not feel comfortable with the work he's written, and he might think, oh, this is too sloppy, I don't want to show it to anyone. With some assignments, Eduardo can choose to do independent practice. This way, he'll get the points for participation. I see that he's learning, and this, because I don't want to single him out, will be offered to everyone. Everyone will have the option to either do this activity as a group or do this activity individually. Some students can work individually, some students can work grouped. This way, Eduardo doesn't feel singled out, and this doesn't discourage him. This way, Eduardo will receive his full participation points. The last option, or the last research-based theory I have in mind, is engaging Eduardo and you, the parents, in weekly and monthly reviews. I want to start off by saying my door is always open, and regardless of what time it is, Eduardo can come talk to me about his class needs or any other needs he's having in class, in other classes. I feel like he can have a mentorship with me, and I can help him get through this because it's a hard thing to get through. I would like to meet with Eduardo at least once a week until he's passing with a C or higher. These once-a-week meetings, we can go over the iPad technology, see if it's working. He can show me all the homework he's done. That way he doesn't have to pull it out in front of all the students. He can show me the notes he's taken, and I can give him full credit. And this way we keep touching base and see if what we're doing is working and what we're doing is helping Eduardo. This is where it's going to take commitment from you guys, the parents. Once a month, at least once a month, I would like to have a phone conversation with you guys about his progress. This doesn't have to be a long conversation. It could be as simple as, hey, how's it going? Eduardo has been improving. Eduardo is doing fantastic. I'll keep you guys updated. I would prefer it more than once a month, a couple times a month, because it will only take a couple minutes. This way, I can get your input as well and see how Eduardo is doing at home. He might show you guys more frustration than he's showing me, and I want you guys to tell me if the iPad isn't working and he's getting frustrated because he doesn't know how to use it. He may be embarrassed to tell me that, and I can get some classes shown, and he can learn how to use the technology to better suit himself. So these are my ideas about helping Eduardo, and if we implement these 3 research-based strategies, engaging the student in parents and weekly and monthly reviews, technology with the iPad, and letting Eduardo choose more independent practice, I do believe his grades will improve, not just in my class, but in all the classes. These are my works cited, and thank you.